Hi, Randy. It's May 20th, 2018, in the evening Tennessee time. How's it going?
Doing great. I hope you are.
Good.
I wanted to share some stuff with everybody. First off, I'm in handcuffs, and I had written down what I wanted to say, so bear with me. If you don't mind, I'm trying to hold the phone, read from a notepad and handcuffs. I wanted to mention this first. I have a radio that I listen to in my cell, and I heard something the other day. I caught the tail end of it about the Pope giving a speech about securities and how they were being used against humanity. Have you heard that?
I have not heard that, although the Pope's in a lot of hot water, shall we say, so he may be deciding to spill some beans.
And I figured that was part of the vent document because of the securities and stuff that he was talking about. It's what it sounded like anyway before. Anyway, I'd like to start out by saying thank you, BZ, for allowing me to share on your platform. I don't know the dynamics that have led to the following in this case. As you are all aware, I was kidnapped on July 11th of last year and have been kept under lock and key since that day. At the time of my arrest, there wasn't much going on as far as exposure is concerned. Heather and Lisa and myself had started a Skype room, and that evolved to maybe 15 to 20 people at that time. I guess what I'm getting at is that I haven't seen how this has grown, nor do I understand the interest behind that growth. I've heard many comments and received numerous letters thanking me for what I'm doing and who I be. I find it somewhat difficult to understand why there hasn't been much going on in the way of people asking more questions. It's funny to me that I've been labeled greedy by those who don't understand the big picture here. I want to take you to a time in my life as a young boy. My father was a Baptist minister and a door-to-door insurance salesman. I often overheard conversations of his day's work and different types of policies that he would talk about. But one policy in particular caught my attention regularly. It was the life insurance policy. Now, at my age, I wanted to understand this concept of how one placed a value on humans, so my quest began. I received my answer many times from many different people. Songs, books, but mainly the one that I will say that locked in for me was the still small voice that said, "My child, you are priceless." In that knowing, I grew up feeling that something was amiss in the way people used and treated others as less than or greater than in our society. As I became older, I sensed something that led me to become basically an outcast among family and friends. I knew that something wasn't right, and I was asking questions and seeking answers, questions that made those close to me uncomfortable, and they considered me crazy or a lunatic. I followed the desire to know so deep that I lived alone and researched in my spare time when I wasn't working. I was on a quest for truth, and I was going to find it, even if it meant doing it alone. At one point, in the later years of my search, I encountered a blog talk radio program that I could hear real people speaking my language. They wanted to share this truth as well. The deal was sealed when Heather announced on December 21st, 2012, that she had filed all the documentation to bring these trust accounts into our possession, the one people, and that we are unlimited value. When I heard that, it was like I have told BZ a few times. It was like taking a key and sticking it in a lock and turning it to chunk. I knew that something big had happened and that I was a part of it. I didn't know when or how, but I would be working with Heather. Little did I know how that would come about. It wasn't until 5 years later that I would reach out to Heather to say hello and introduce myself. Now, before I go much further here, I want to point out that I have been a target of the government because I was seeking this truth and evidently was on to something, because I would be arrested for petty stuff that others wouldn't have any issue with. I was in South Carolina in 2014 and was pulled over by a SWAT team of over a dozen officers and interrogated profusely about being a sovereign citizen, to which I politely denied and said, "I am a living man and I come in peace," many times. I was eventually taken to jail with a warrant that said I had refused arrest and had beaten and wounded an officer. I felt entrapped. I felt raped in a sense, raped of my freedom and my rights. While in their jail, I was sent information by an attorney in Hawaii who wanted to help me. He told me the story behind what he wanted me to say, so I listened, and it all made perfect sense. He said for me to go in that courtroom and never answer to the all-caps name to stand in my power. I won't share the whole story at this time for the lack of time, but it worked, and I learned at that point that these so-called trust accounts are very real and that all courts are trust courts. Fast forward now to the July of 2017, all this knowing that I have acquired, and then the Harvey Dent video release. Upon seeing that, I immediately made contact with Heather and asked about the validity of the information, and she said, yes, these are the accounts, so go ahead, be and do however you will. At that point, the rest is history. Now we are in the present, and so much has unfolded. The transcripts have been released for all to see and read. Now here's the reason for sharing this with you all today. I mentioned earlier about some people saying I'm greedy. I'm often asked in jail, don't you think you should have left some for others, or maybe you would have gotten away if you hadn't been so greedy? I know at that point, when that person asks that question, that there is a vast canyon between us that needs a bridge of understanding on what is actually happening. I guess it pains me to know that all I have been through to prove the reality of these secret accounts, that the real question should be, why do these accounts even exist? Who opened them and what for? And how much could you have gotten? We have to stop thinking like slaves we have been. It's time to wake up and see the big picture. I think one problem we have in this country, especially, is that we think that enough money will fix all of our problems, which puts us in a vicious cycle that we can't seem to escape. In reality, all we have to do is find the source of our problems, which most likely will be revealed in places you least expect them to be. We all want to feel validated and loved, and those times when we don't, the void is filled with illusions. We have allowed these illusions to become a false reality. We as a people can do this. We can help one another through this fog of lies we have been fed over and over. As far as money is concerned, it doesn't have any value other than what we give it. I have been told that I will be a hero when I get out of jail. I'm not really interested in being a hero. I just want to be free, to be and do as I please, and allow others that same freedom. There's a lot of synchronicity going on in my life, and at times I would dare say it's even a hyper-synchronicity. Like the week I opened the accounts, the CDs, and bought the coach. I didn't have to think about any of that. It just happened like a dance that had been choreographed long ago. I just moved with the flow. Thank you for listening and allowing me to clear my chest for some things I felt I needed to say. It is time for the one people to take our power back from the den of thieves who have robbed us for way too long. I also believe that we can all come from a place of compassion as these truths unfold before our eyes. Instead of making history, let's make our story.
Wonderful. Spectacular. Thank you so much for sharing, and I will get it out there to share far and wide.
All right. Thank you so much.
Okay. Talk to you later, all right? I love you.
All right. Love you too.